Today I'm going to be teaching more on roots that need to be ripped out, that are keeping us from being close to God. And so I'm going to start with some things that I know that we women crave, and I'm going to start with craving approval. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being a people-pleasing approval addict, and I know that if we can break free from that, we can pretty much walk free all the time. I used to say to myself, I'd be a perfect Christian if I didn't have to deal with people. And then when you have to deal with people, and then if you feel disapproved of, then you fall into the bondage of wanting their approval, right? And so I'm praying that we're going to find some roots in that. I want to share with you Galatians 1:10 is where I want to start, where Paul is asking himself this question. So let's ask ourselves the question from Galatians 1:10. It says, am I trying to win the approval of men or of God? Am I trying to please men or am I trying to please God? Because if I'm trying to continue to please man, then I am not a servant of God. So we have to make a choice. We're either going to live free and for an audience of one who we'll be living with forever, who really has given us life, or we're going to live for man. And if you live for man and you're a people-pleasing approval addict, 1 minute you're a hero and next minute you're a zero. Is this not true? And there's different ways that we look for approval. We don't just look for approval in performance or what we can do to get you to like us, but a lot of it, unfortunately, is also in discontentment of how we think we look and discontentment in what we think we do in life, and that's what's going to make you like me more. Like, I used to have this issue, and I don't know what about your body or your self that you don't like, but for me, I always wanted great, big, huge hair. And it was just a big thing for me. And when I'd go to Texas, I would die. I mean, there was so much hair there. You know, it's just, I don't know, they grow hair better there in the South. I don't know what they're eating. I don't know what they're drinking. But whenever I would go to a women's event, I was so obsessed with that I wanted big hair that after a retreat, when women would come up to me with big hair and they would ask for prayer, I would go, why? I mean, you have big hair. Therefore, you don't need prayer. Now that sounds funny, but think about if someone else has thinner thighs than you. If someone has blonde hair or blue hair, or who knows what kind of hair you want nowadays. But it seems that we always want what we can't have, which keeps us in a state of discontentment, doesn't it? And then we want the approval of what we want. So we try to create something we're not to get the approval and to feel good about ourselves, instead of embracing who God has created us to be. Now, for me with this big hair, I happened to be on a treadmill in a hotel, and I saw this infomercial, and I'm not kidding, I thought God himself had answered my prayer, as the infomercial said, we could have more hair for $99. This must be God. I mean, I never watch TV. I happened to see it on a TV. It must be for me. And it showed these before and afters of all this big hair, and so I called that 800 number, and I said, what is the maximum amount of hair a human being can put on their head? I want extra of that and long. And so I travel all over the country. I couldn't wait to go to my next booking because I knew at that event they didn't know I didn't have big hair. And I had bought the extra, extra long. It was like down to here, down longer than my shirt. And it was huge. It felt so good. And I walked into the room and I looked around to see if anybody had bigger hair than me. And no one in the room had bigger hair than me, and no one wanted to have bigger hair than me. I look like Cousin It. Here's me with my big hair. And the woman that introduced me was taller than me, and she hugged me and said, we're praying for you, and she hugged my head really tight and unclipped all my big hair. But I didn't realize it, because I had teased my hair all up, because I used to tease my hair so much it finally attacked me. No, just kidding. Anyway. So here I was preaching, and I'm walking back and forth, and women are looking at the ground and not at my face, and I'm thinking, this is distracting me. I've got to stop it. And so I said, what are you all looking at? And they all pointed on the stage, and I looked down, and I saw my hair all the way across the stage. It had been falling out on this side and that side, and I looked up, and I could hear God say, even the numbers of hair on your head I know. And I don't recognize any of those. Now, if you're ready, watching in your group, you need to find someone to do this with. And here in my group, I want you to grab a partner because we're going to set each other free from being in bondage to what other people think of us, okay? So get your friend and say these very loving words, and you're going to help them be free forever, okay? Look right at them, and if you're in the camera right now, get your group, look at someone, and say these very truthful words, okay? No one's thinking about you as much as you are, so get over yourself. Now you've wasted all that effort and all that time. And they're not even thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. One of my favorite sayings is, enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? I mean, that's what people want. They want to know what you're thinking about them. They don't really care what you're thinking about you. And they aren't thinking about you. Just think if we put all that effort into blessing instead of impressing. It would change us, and we'd be free.